And we're back, and now at the halfway point with issue 15, stages 55 to 58 of the Eaglemoss Hero Collector Build the Enterprise D. And true to their word, this issue was delivered within a week of the last one. So let's get started with stage 55. With issue 55, we get the final deck piece, the left and right impulse engine, and the battery box for the nacelle. The final deck piece will sit in place like so and secured with 6 FM screws. Now retrieve the main bridge and deck 2 from way back in issue 5 and place like so, and this will be held in place with 14 BM screws. Then temporarily remove the second circuit board to further secure the main bridge with another 8 BM screws. Now put the circuit board back in place. Onto the impulse engines, and the instructions say to slide the two pieces together, but there is no way to do that, so it is a bit confusing. What you do is you put the two pieces in position on the saucer, and the reflector will hold the impulse engine in place as it sits on a small lip. There should be 2 spare LEDs from back in stages 33 and 50, and these will sit into the reflectors. For the battery box for the nacelle, take the nut and put it in the round slot, covering it with the bracket and secure in place with 2 AP screws. The batteries for the nacelle are the coin lithium type, what you'd find in watches and calculators. For stage 56, we get the dorsal phaser arrays, the formation lights, and the lower part of the nacelle. Put the arrays in place, securing with CP screws as you go. Next, put the red and green formation lights in place. Take the bottom part of the nacelle and receive the battery box from the previous stage and secure in place with 2 GM screws. Then hold the switch in place with 2 DM screws. For stage 57, we get the first nacelle spring, a third circuit board, and the first part of the lower saucer skeleton frame. Start by slotting the spring onto the lock pin and putting in place like so. Then put the bracket over it, securing in place with 2 AM screws. Plug in the PCB cable into the second board and fit the third board onto the skeleton, securing with 4 FM screws, and then plugging the PCB cable into it. And now I'll tidy up the cables with the provided cable ties. Now plug in the battery box for a light test, and if all goes well, the whole saucer should light up. And so it does, including my mod of the bridge dome, and I removed the proposed light for the vent on deck 2, as it's not meant to light up, and I used that spare LED to light up the Arboretum blue, which I did in the last issue. I only noticed afterwards that the impulse engine on the right was not lighting, but all that turned out to be was it wasn't plugged in fully on the board, thankfully. Now we'll take the first part of the lower saucer section and put it in place like so, securing with 8 BM and 4 FM screws. For stage 58, we get the second nacelle spring, the formation LEDs, and the second lower saucer skeleton piece. Again, slot the spring onto the lock, slot it in place, cover it with the bracket and secure with 2 AM screws. Take the 4 formation LED lights and plug them into the sockets marked W and GR. You'll know it's right as they should flash when on. For the second piece of the skeleton, you need to loosen the first piece a little as it must slot in under like so. Once in place, secure with 8 BM and 4 FM screws. And that's it for another issue. As I said at the beginning, it's now at the halfway point of the build. And in the coming issues we'll begin the second hull. Almost time to start seriously thinking about building a stand for this. Also, now that I have a complete nacelle, I'll need to mod that with strip LED lights. That's another thing to start thinking about, which will likely be a video on its own. For now though, until issue 16, stages 59 to 62, hailing frequencies closed.
If you liked what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell too. Thank you.